So here we are, let's jump straight in now. To set the scene, Samuel was a prophet, and he was going to a man named Jesse's house with a horn of oil to anoint one of his sons king. And this is what happens. We're going to pick it up right here. I think the words are going on the screen. 1 Samuel chapter 16 and verse 6. When they arrived, Samuel saw Eliab. Everyone say Eliab. And he thought, surely the Lord's anointed stands here before me. But the Lord said to Samuel, do not consider his outward appearance or his height, for I have rejected him. For the Lord does not look at the things that man looks at. For man looks at the outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart. Everybody say heart. I want to talk about the heart tonight because David was a heart man. David was a man, and if you'll watch him, you see his heart. The Bible says that David was a man after God's own heart. And the first thing that he had to face in his life, the first step, was the step of rejection. Everyone say rejection. Let's read it together in verse 11. For the Lord, the Lord, is there still not a youngest? Well, there's Jesse answered, but he is tending the sheep. So Samuel said to him, send for him, and we will not sit down until he gets here. So Samuel arrives, and here's these boys. Can you imagine it for a moment? They're standing in line, waiting for the prophet to come to anoint one of them king. Eliab is the oldest, so he thinks, I'm bound to get it. I'm head and shoulders above everybody else. And he stands there, and Samuel looks at him and says, nope, it's not you. Nope, it's not you. No, it's not you. No, it's not you. And goes through all the boys and says, is there somebody else? You can just imagine the pause in the room. No. There's no one else except for Dave. Like, Dave is like the shepherd guys out there playing a harp. Not kind of really king material. And Samuel says this, I'm not going to sit down until he gets here. And so Jesse, David's father, sends for David, and David rocks up. And Samuel doesn't look at his outward appearance. Samuel the prophet looks at his heart, and he pours the horn of oil over him, and he anoints him right there and then king in front of his brothers. Powerful. God looks at the heart. Everybody say heart. But right there, the first step, if you think about it, David had to deal with rejection. He's out looking after sheep. He knows that something's happening. Something's happening at home. Dad has got this big event going on. The prophet, the man of God, is coming to his house, but he's not even invited. Hands up if you know that is massive room for rejection. That is good reason to deal with rejection. They didn't even invite me to the party. And you know, the Bible says in the Psalms, David writes of himself, in sin I was conceived. In iniquity, my mother bore me. I'm pretty convinced that David was actually born out of wedlock. David was probably a love child. And there was a reason why he wasn't invited to the party. There was a reason why he was the youngest. He had red hair. He looked different. He was ruddy. He's just a shepherd boy. But God didn't look at his outward appearance. God looked at his heart. And he said, I'm not going to stand. I'm not going to sit down. I'm going to stand here until he gets here. And he anoints him king right in front of him. Samuel, verse 13, took the horn of oil and he anointed him in the presence of his brothers. And from that day on, the Spirit of the Lord came upon David in power.